welcome everyone. Be great to spend the next few hours talking about statistics. And so as I start, let me just kind of set the stage as to how I look at statistics and where I'm coming from. So the first is I view that statistics are a means to an end and not an end in themselves. Thankfully, there are statisticians that are interested in statistics, and they really are the end, and they're creating statistical theory and statistical tools. But for myself, and I think probably for most, if not all of you, we really need statistics as a set of tools that can address necessary research tasks. And like any set of tools and any set of tasks, there's a different tool for each task, and we won't cover all of them in the next 3 hours, but hopefully we can cover some of the most frequently used and needed tools. So this seminar is intended to enable you to become a more knowledgeable and critical statistical consumer. Certainly no intentions of trying to convert anybody into being a statistician. So I mentioned tasks of statistics. I generally view that there are four main tasks of statistics, or tasks that we need statistics to undertake for us when we're carrying out or interpreting the results from health research. The first and probably the most commonly used task is to be able to describe or summarize a set of data, or data reduction, descriptive statistics, if you will, and we'll talk about those at the beginning of this web seminar. The second task is to be able to estimate or quantify how close a result might be to the true underlying value, or what range of values might be consistent with one that comes out of a health study, so-called the measurement of precision. And again, we'll address that in the next 3 hours as well. The third task is probably right up there with descriptive statistics as far as its frequency of use, and that is the ability to estimate the probability that random variation or chance might be a reasonable explanation for the observed results. So this is the so-called inferential statistics, or the statistical test that will generate a p-value for us and tell us what that probability might be. And we will also address that in the next 3 hours of this web seminar. The fourth task is to be able to estimate the sample size needed, or the statistical power that's been achieved for a given study. While statistics may seem a little overwhelming and a little baffling, I would encourage you to boil it down to really there's only four main things that we call on statistics to do, and every time you run into statistics, kind of almost make a mental note. Okay, which one of those tasks is this? And again, I think it's a reasonably finite list to consider. So for this seminar, I think you've got the objectives that came out with the information for the seminar. Again, related to descriptive statistics, the summarization of data. We're going to talk about confidence intervals when we get into the discussion around how statistics help us to quantify or estimate the precision that any measure is made. Certainly talking about and trying to demystify what p-values are, how they come about, and how we interpret them, and then how to employ statistical terms that are used in clinical research. And certainly the most important is hopefully at the end of this seminar that you become more comfortable and confident communicating about statistics, especially with statisticians. So let's start with an example. Imagine that researchers wish to study various aspects of a cardiac rehabilitation program. And one of the baseline measures that they wish to determine is the average heart rate of participants at the start of a cardiac rehab session. So I want you to think about how would this study be carried out? What would need to be done? So here, first of all, we're told that we're in the midst of a cardiac rehab program, and so various patients are going to be part of that program. So we're going to be able to determine what that average heart rate is for participants. We're going to have to be able to identify and recruit a number of participants in a cardiac rehab program, approach them, get their signed informed consent, and then be able to measure each of their heart rates at the beginning of a cardiac rehab session.